across this guy often when I'm on TikTok, and I just got to react to this one. So he's the lucky person that I get to do my first reaction to.
The fallacy of telling someone to simply live within their means is so silly to me because it dismisses the fact that one of the only reasons that the economy is still even moving is because people are going into extreme credit card debt. The amount of people that in this country right now make so little money while everything has become so expensive, people are putting their groceries on credit card. They are
So
paying their bills
if you're putting your
on credit cards,
money, if you're putting groceries on
and
credit
that debt.
cards, you start off wrong to begin with. I get it that people are going to use by any means necessary to keep their building their house afloat, all that. But living within your means, if you're using credit cards, you were living outside your means anyway.
People aren't going on like, I'm not saying that there aren't people doing this, but people are not going on tons of expensive vacations on just credit cards the way you think they are. They're not going out and buying $400 pairs of shoes on credit cards so that they can just feel
But they
fancy.
are
Yeah,
going on vacation. They are getting flued out. They are doing all these things. That's why they need the credit card. They didn't start off getting a credit card to not go to brunch and not live their best life.
credit cards the way you think they are. They're not going out and buying continuing to load money, which continues to funnel up through.
They definitely are buying
If
$400 pairs of shoes, purses.
we do not live in a
all
world
the
right now
like.
where if
I
all
mean,
this debt was
the proof is in
recalled,
the data, but
people should simply
his
can't pay it back.
concept is living within your
And
means.
telling someone to simply live within their means when working a 40-hour job does not pay enough to live within their very real means. And I'm not talking about a thrivable wage. I'm talking about a paycheck to paycheck, covering medical expenses, paying for groceries, paying for general family-based incidentals. Human beings in this country do not make enough to do.
Actually, the reverse is happening. In times where it's receding in economic spending, those people who he's describing would be considered a high risk to the bank. And so they would be lowering their limits so that they wouldn't be trying to live off the credit cards, live off the debt. So the living within your means, again, I'm still waiting for him to get to that particular point.
And telling someone to simply live within their means when working a 40-hour job does not pay enough to live within their very real means. And I'm not talking about a thrivable wage. I'm talking about a paycheck to paycheck, covering medical expenses, paying for groceries, paying for general family-based incidentals. Human beings in this country do not make enough to do that. And then there are going to be those of you that hear this and go, well, go get a better job.
Well, the healthcare system, trying to put that in your logic for living within your means, we all know healthcare in America is expensive. So I'm not really going to touch that. But living within your means is simply, can you pay food, water, clothing, basic clothing, vehicle probably use, and live within your means. Living within your means you're actually satisfied. He's pointing this idea that because you're living within your means, you're not content or happy with life. It's the social media glamification of what your life should be when you haven't increased your income to a point, or when you're taking advantage of luxuries outside of that. So living within your means, while I understand it is difficult for most people to pay bills, but they don't represent the majority of people who have mountains of credit card debt. Number one reason why is because they can afford to get that much credit card debt. There are, because it's proportional to your income. Then when you mishandle that on even a lower scale, the bank's not going to give you more. The problem with this particular video is that he's perpetuating an idea that it's so hard, and it is difficult. I'm not saying it's not difficult, but there are plenty of places. They're not the metropolitan city, I get it, but there are plenty of places you can get affordable rent for what income is. Because on the other side of the equation, what people are making at these gas stations, these run-of-the-mill everyday jobs, $40,000, $50,000, they were not making that 5, 10 years ago. The opportunity for you to make income is higher. Living within your means is simply that. I can put food, clothing, shelter, a vehicle on there. When you start trying to throw in debt payments, is actually a luxury item. That's not living within your means. If you have debt payments, you're typically not living within your means. Hospital bills, yes. Most do have some form of insurance, but when you're talking about bills that are way outside of what is kind of normal physicals and things, dental appointments, all that, now you're talking about extemporaneous. Everyone doesn't have a medical issue. And so to try to use that as this is not being able to afford life, they are going on vacation. They are paying for these expensive devices. They are paying for food out to eat. They are paying for these. It's the point of, I get where it's frustrating, where prices are going up, but you have to be realistic with what you spend your money on. And truth be told, if they were using the credit cards to pay bills now, that hasn't always been their strategy. It's only because they're in a situation where now that's an option. And because it's an option, that meant they could afford or they had access based off what their income and lifestyle was previously. Living within your means you're content with what you have, and you find ways to be happy and satisfy those needs that you have. Even if you want to go out, maybe you can't go to Eddie V's and STK, but you can go to Longhorn once every couple of weeks or something, because that's what your budget can afford. People don't want to live like that. People certainly don't want to eat the same thing every day.